Hello you guys, what is up and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to finally be showing you guys how I do my everyday makeup routine. It's been a very long time coming. I haven't quite filmed one of these videos since my 23rd birthday and I'm turning 25 in 3 months as I'm filming this video. So time's just flying by and I figured I had to show you guys how I do this. Better late than never, but that's okay. So if you're interested in seeing how I achieve this makeup look right here, we're gonna call it a nice glowy everyday makeup, then keep on watching and I will see you guys in the next tutorial. So I'm gonna start and I'm just gonna clip my bangs back just so they're not in the way when I blend stuff out. So the first thing that I like to do is apply my moisturizer, serums, things like that. Haven't applied my sunscreen quite yet, so we're gonna start and do that. So I'm using the Supergoop Unseen Sunscreen. I have been using Supergoop for a couple years now. My favorite is actually the Glow Screen if you just want a really nice glowy base. This one is more of like a clear sunscreen, so if you like wearing makeup, this is a really good one for you and I highly recommend it. I have no issues with it. It just feels like a little like slippery on your face when you first put it on, which might be scary, but it actually makes my makeup last a long time, and obviously a sunscreen is always super important. You just get that all over your face and then whatever left over I tend to just put it down my neck. So the next thing that I'm going to do is the underpainting trick, which I am so excited to show you guys. This I've known for quite a while now, but I just recently wanted to try it because it was going obviously viral on TikTok. And this is a trick that Mary Phillips, who does Kendall Jenner and Hailey Bieber's makeup, she does the underpainting trick, just makes everything look a lot more seamless. And this is the way that I found works best for me. So I'm gonna go in with my Makeup by Mario contour stick in the shade medium. And I'm just gonna go ahead and draw the contours of my face. So jaw, cheekbones, and then also I do my nose. I like contouring my nose. I also do the perimeters of my forehead and on my eyes just for like a little lifting effect. So I look crazy, I know, but it's all gonna come together. Definitely have to trust the process on this one. So I'm going to be going in with my little e.l.f. buffing brush and just starting cheek, jaw, blend it across. Next, we are going to go in with our foundation. So I'm going to use the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. I use the shade 3.5 Salzburg. I love this foundation, but please don't scream because it looks like this. It leaks with whatever I try to do with this. I will clean it like every other day and then it just leaks out the next day. So I am sorry. No, it looks horrendous, but I'm definitely not going to be traveling with that anytime soon. So I like to kind of just press my foundation in first with my fingers, and this kind of just helps to disperse it evenly in my opinion, making sure that I don't have any spots that have too much foundation or too little foundation. So then I'm gonna take my little beauty sponge and I suck up any product that I have on the back of my hand where I pump to my foundation. But I also like to just go in and use a little buffing brush. This is my Morphe M439. I've had this brush honestly for about 5 years now and it is one of my favorites. I go in and out of like phases if I just want to use like a brush directly, if I want to use my fingers, if I want to use a sponge. These days I am into just doing my foundation with a brush first. And again, it kind of just helps disperse everything evenly. Once it's about 90% of the way blended, I'm gonna go in with my sponge. And the first thing I do is, because it has the sucked up foundation, I'm gonna go in, close my eyes, and just get the foundation on my eyelids. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is go in with my concealer, and I use the Pat McGrath concealer. I use the shade LM8. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of this. I think it's a little too full coverage for the kind of makeup that I like on my face, but if you are more of a full coverage girly, this is definitely the one for you. My favorite foundation, or sorry, my favorite concealer that I've tried recently would have to be the Kosas Revealer Concealer, but my shade always is sold out at Sephora for whatever reason, so I just haven't had any luck with that, and that's why I decided to try this one out. So I kind of just press it underneath my eyes, and during that same time, I'm going to start with my eyebrows. I'm going to be going in with my Item Beauty Brow Chow. This is one of my favorite eyebrow pencils, and it makes me so sad because they discontinued it because they stopped carrying the brand at Sephora. But I love the way that this glides on my eyebrows, and I think the shade is just perfect as well. So it's really nice and pigmented. I just do like one swipe really, just on the underneath of my eyebrows. I'm gonna leave it for a second, and now at this point in time is when I'm going to blend in my concealer. So I'm just going to press that underneath my eyes, just blend it out. So once that is done, I'm going to go in with my powder. I'm using the Laura Mercier translucent powder. This is an oldie but a goodie. I've purchased so many of these in my lifetime. So just put some on the lid there, and then I'm gonna go in with my sponge. It's a nice angled sponge like this, and I'm going to just kind of press that underneath my eyes. And I like for my sponge to be a little bit damp. I think it makes a difference for just the overall finish of your makeup. And any excess we are going to blend out with a powder brush later. So it's kind of like a soft bake is what I like to call it. We're gonna go back to the eyebrows, and I'm going to just blend it all out. I'm using my little Patrick Ta brush, and I don't really have to do too much work at this point in time, so I'm just going to accentuate the shape of my eyebrows. I am kind of at that age now where I stopped hacking at my eyebrows. Definitely was an offender at one point. Obviously I had super thin eyebrows when I first started plucking them and messing around with them. Now that I've gotten older, I think I have the shape just right. So this used to be my better eyebrow, but I feel like these days this one's the easier one to fill in. And then I just use my spoolie and just blend everything out. My favorite eyeshadow is Rice Paper by MAC. It's a frost eyeshadow. I'm gonna use my little blending brush, just get it in there, tap out any fallout, and then I just do it sloppily, but I kind of just blend it like all over my eyes. And this is a shade I've used for years and years and years. And your key to having just really nice blended diffused eyes is a really, really fluffy brush like this one. This one is from Quo Beauty. It's one of my favorite brushes for eyes especially. Now that that's done, I'm going to go in and just bronze up my face as I'm dropping everything. And I use the NARS Laguna bronzer. This is the matte one. I like the original a little bit better because it has a little bit of shimmer. If you know me, you know I like having a little bit of a sheen to my face, like always. And I like to just kind of get the same areas that I did my contour earlier. So contour and bronzer are actually two different things, which is something I also learned a little bit later in my life. Contour enhances the shadows, whereas bronzer just gives you that sun-kissed look. So this is just like a little added extra, just helps to add again those like extra shadows and definition to your face, like you've been touched by the sun. And if you live in Calgary like I do get touched by the sun very often, so I'm quite fortunate with that, I will say. Okay, next I'm going to move on to my lashes. I'm gonna just curl them really quickly. I use the Shu Uemura eyelash curler. I feel like this is still the best eyelash curler. If you could get your hands on it, it's a little bit difficult to find them at Sephora these days, but if you can find it online, I highly recommend it. Once they're all curled up and flipped up, I'm going to go in with my mascara. This one's the Voluminous mascara from L'Oreal with the curved brush. This makes such a big difference. Anything with a curved brush, I think, just hugs your lashes a lot better. And I'm a huge volume kind of girl, so I prefer a voluminous lash over a lengthened lash. I have really straight eyelashes, so if I could hold a curl, it just makes me so happy. And this is one of those products, it's always on sale. It's still relatively one of the cheaper mascaras, and I just honestly love it and have used it forever. And we get to move on to my favorite part, which is blush. So I'm gonna be using one of my favorites, my new favorites. This is the Multiple from NARS. And I'm just going to apply that on my cheek. Sometimes I use my fingers, sometimes I use a sponge. Today I'm feeling a sponge, so I'm gonna be using the same sponge that I used earlier to blend my foundation out. And I'm just going to first layer that on. And then I'm going to be using another new favorite of mine. This is in the same shade, it's also in the shade Pave, but this is a liquid blush, and I just do one pump. Okay, we're gonna do it on our face. This is quite a runny blush, so act quickly, but I'm just going to get that on my cheek. I love an over blushed look, and I feel like the key to that is just layers of blush on your face. So again, I'm just gonna use my sponge to blend it out. So I'm gonna be using this like big fluffy brush. I just diffuse whatever powder that I had underneath my eyes earlier. Oh, my lips, last step. Okay. So I recently have just been a fan of a very simple lip, and my favorite is actually from the drugstore. This is the Rimmel Lasting Finish lip liner in the shade 90s Nude. I'm just gonna overline my lips ever so slightly. So I fill my lips in 3/4 of the way. Use my fingers to blend it out. And then my last step, which is very necessary if you live in a very dry place like I do, is I actually just apply my Carmex lip balm. And that is how I do my everyday makeup. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am so happy finally got to share it. I have some new makeup coming in the next week or so, so I will definitely be doing another makeup video very soon where I just kind of play around with my new makeup products. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.